forever. Just one of those little shrines in the middle of the city that is still like kept. And some shit goes down with her at that shrine, and that is one of the biggest like driving forces of the show.
That was one of the coolest episodes.
Yes, and that is what ties the last like 3 or 4 episodes together, is the event that happens at that shrine. Really cool. So, That being said, some real shrines of Japan that are still there that I thought were really cool, like the Masakado Shrine. The Masakado ghost is probably one of the best known creepy legends surrounding Tokyo temples and shrines. While the story is fascinating, it's also long, so here's a summary about this situation. So, Taira no Masakado was a local warlord. This says 903 to 940, which I'm assuming they don't mean, obviously not 1903 to 1940, like 903 to 940, was a local warlord who tried to defy the imperial authority by establishing its own independent kingdom, something the emperor clearly didn't take very well, as Masakado was shot between his eyes with an arrow and then decapitated, his head used as a warning to any other warlord with bright ideas. From here, history becomes legend, with Masakado's head flying off from its place of display in Kyoto to look for its body, finally crashing down in Tokyo, where it was buried in what is now known as Masakado no Kubizuka, the mound of Masakado's head, by terrifying citizens. A monument was erected to the head in 1309 after a number of disasters were blamed on the vengeful spirit. After another 600 years of peaceful sleep, Masakado was disturbed again in 1923 when the Ministry of Finance took the opportunity presented by the Great Kanto earthquake to do some renovations, including taking down the Masakado mound and building an office in that very spot. Fast forward 1 year later, and 14 employees connected with that project have died, and many more have suffered injuries to their legs and feet. Eventually, the office project was discarded, and a new stone monument was built to appease the angry spirit, which was still blamed for illnesses in the surrounding office buildings thereafter.
Ha!
If you want to visit this shrine, it is still there today, a tiny, indelible spot in the metropolitan jungle near the exit of Otemachi Station by the Mitsui Busan building. I thought that was pretty awesome. Like,
that's pretty neat.
That's some real shit. A shrine devoted to a decapitated head that someone was like, nah, it's just a head. And then they're like, fuck, it's not just a head. Put it back, put it back. Fuck.
Man, we don't get to have cool stuff like that here in America.
Everybody's dead, man.
Man, like, I love Japanese culture with, like, they are more superstitious than is obviously here in America. Depend on who you ask.
Well, again, like, it's one of those situations, I feel like we've talked about it before, where America does not have a lot of history, quote unquote. Like, yes, we have a history, but our history stretches back only a few hundred years. This was the year 904. Not 19, like 1,000 years ago, they had shit going on, and they still have that shit there today. I'm like, they have over 1,000 years of history. And it's just crazy that, like, the things that the traditions that are still upheld and their beliefs and superstitions and things like that, it stems back a really long way.
Right.
It's just, I don't know, I feel like that's more interesting to me personally. It's
agreed. I really like that.
It's more fun to learn about.
Yeah. We also have another shrine, the Oiwa, is it Oiwa Inari Shrine?
The Oiwa Inari, yeah.
The story of Oiwa, I'm going to do my best to not butcher that.
It's like Iowa, but with an O first.
They swapped the Iowa. We live there. The Oiwa Inari Shrine is also one of the best known ghost stories in Japan. The legend goes that Oiwa was a very pure and faithful woman, married to a terrible man named Tamiya Ayamon, who killed her in order to marry a richer woman. While the accounts on how he killed her vary, they all include poisoning with terrible consequences to her looks. Obviously, Oiwa wouldn't be very keen on this whole new marriage thing, and she proceeded to ruin his wedding, making him kill his new wife and her family by making him look like her dead self, and finally killed him too. The shrine was built to try and placate Oiwa's angry spirit, and it still rests south of Yotsuya Station in Tokyo. While this is the legend, many say that the whole story was made up by Tsuruya Nanboku IV, a kabuki playwright of the late Edo period, from 1603 to 1868, in his famous production titled Tokaido Yotsuya Kaiden. In reality, Oiwa was Tamiya Aimon's daughter, and she married his adopted son, Isemon. They were quite happy and successful together, and while she was enshrined, there's no haunting going on in this place. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I like Japanese ghost stories.
Yeah, no, that's great, because there's a bunch of them. Like this one from the Fushimi Castle. We're in Kyoto. This is a favorite for most people in the area in Japanese history. But imagine you're walking in a quiet temple in Kyoto, and you look up and you see a bloody footprint on the ceiling. This is not only...
Oh, no.
Yeah, this is...
Oh, no, bro.
Right. I mean, this is apparently a reality, but there is a reason before it. So bloody ceilings can be found at different locations in Kyoto. The Yogen Inn, a temple near Sanju Sangendo, Genko on temple north of Bukyo University, and Hoseinin temple in the northern village of Ohara. All these places have a fair share of bloody footprints and handprints on their walls and ceilings, and they also have another thing in common, that is wood from the Fushimi Castle. Fushimi Castle was completed in 1594, and then in 1600 it was the location of a gruesome battle between Torimoto Tada and a follower of the feudal lord Tokugawa Ieyasu, and Ishida Mitsunari, follower of his recently deceased benefactor Toyotomi Hideyoshi. So this is like almost going back to Nobunaga. So he was the first shogun of the Tokugawa shogunate that ruled from Japan in 1603 until the Meiji Restoration in 1868. To get there, he had to prove his military superiority over the other feudal lords who wanted Hideyoshi's son, Hideyori, to take control of recently unified Japan after Hideyoshi's death. The castle became the theater of an 11-day-long siege that ended with the capitulation of the castle and nearly 2,000 deaths. The last Tokugawa men left standing all committed seppuku, soaking the floors in blood, which proved impossible to remove. The third shogun of the Edo period, who had no use for the castle, decided to dismantle it and use the wood for other buildings. And that's how the bloody footprints appeared on Kyoto's temple ceilings. Just recycled, reused wood from a horrendously bloody event that they're like, don't clean that. Leave that there. So, it's a really interesting part in history, though, that's still there from 400, almost 500 years at this point. Like, right. It's insane that is still, like, it's still there. You can go see it. Like, this actually happened. And there's like, oh man, that would be just gruesome.
Ugh, lordy. But hey, you know what? We also got here. Let's check out the Mieruko-Chan reviews on Google. Right now, out of 54 reviews, it is clocked in at 4.6 out of 5. Okay. So very positive.
Very good.
Not a whole lot of reviews, but overall, a very, very positive. I'm looking at some of the 3-star reviews, which is the lowest review it has. It's really funny. A lot of them say the show's really cool, but they're just not on board with the amount of butt shots. Yeah. And some of the pervy scenes. Like, for example,
unnecessary.
This gentleman, this young woman here, Kylie Jorgensen, rated 3 out of 5. She says, I saw a snippet of the ghosts, etc., and I wanted to see the show to see what it's about. Pretty quickly got upset with how many weird, awkward butt scenes or whatever else was in the show. It honestly ruins it. Don't know if I can watch it all. Still gave it 3 out of 5 stars, though, which is interesting.
That's pretty good, considering that they didn't care for that. Yeah, that's fine.
We got another one, Emily Important. I'm making it a 3-star because although this is a very good show, there's something creepy and pervy about in every scene. I don't want to see the outline of a drawn teenager's underwear. It's gross and it ruined a lot of the show for me.
Right? Okay, and again, like, it's one of those things where he was the assistant of this big H anime. Like, he's this H anime author. I think it was Matsuda. He's huge. Like, he's very well known. I've looked at his list of like the how many fucking hundreds, if not thousands, of anime manga this guy has drawn and written. It's a lot.
It makes sense. It makes sense. We have a couple 5-star reviews here. One by Tanuel Nonang. The concept itself is very interesting. In the in-between scenes of emotional turbulence is a plus. Overall, a very good anime series. I am eagerly waiting for its second season. Just letting you guys, at this time, there has been no announcement of a second season, and it has been about 2 years since season 1 aired. I can't believe, I remember when this show was being like shown off and promoted, and I can't believe it's already been like 2 years since then. Jesus Christ. Let's see here. We got another 5-star by Don't Mind Me, I'm Just a Cat. It is a picture of a cat. 5 stars. I love everything about this show. Totally recommend it. Watch this or you will regret it for not watching this masterpiece. This is good. The plot, the art, the quality.
I will say that it does have that, like, the artistically speaking, it's phenomenal. It uses a mix of just a few different art styles that are phenomenal. Like, this is a digitally drawn one, you can tell that, but like the art for the spirits themselves just is totally a good contrast for like the bright and vibrant the colors that they use throughout all the characters, and it's it's gorgeous. It's
all
a
the
great
characters
anime.
Yeah, all the characters are so like happy-go-lucky looking, and the world itself is bright, but then like as soon as these monsters or ghosts come into play, the world changes around them, and it's such a weird contrast. But I really like it. Overall, like I'm so happy. My girlfriend was the one that actually recommended we watch this show. She was like, "Hey, I really want to watch this. I saw things about it. We didn't know the name of it, but we just looked on Google until we found something that said Mieruko-Chan, and we was like, sweet." We watched it, and she, at the end of it, she's like, "I really like that. Could do without the butts, though."
Yep.
And I was like, you know what? I get it. But overall, we both really enjoyed it. And the show actually had a lot of really surprising moments and stuff I did not see coming. And genuinely, when it happened on screen, I was like, oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, I can't say too many animes nowadays do that for me. I feel like I've watched so many, I've read so much manga that like I can kind of tell when something's about to happen, or when I can tell when like, oh, plot twist is about to happen. This genuinely surprised me, and I think that's really cool.
Again, like towards the end of it, it finally got me, and I was like, okay, this is cool. But then, like, just as you're like starting to enjoy it, it ends, which I have heard that the manga ends slightly differently, and there's some theories about what happens to the girls. And I'll talk to you about that after we're off of this, because it's it's really interesting. I think this is cool. Like, if it's true, I'm like, oh, that's dark as fuck. But we don't know, just with how the current way it ends. I've got one more story that ties in with one of the ghost stories we were mentioning earlier with Masakato, the place where a business tried to start taking over, and they had a bunch of people die who worked on the project, and they're like, nope, fuck it, put it all back. This story was mentioned in a different article before, but not in detail. As this person states, my life was going really well in all regards. I met up with some friends for drinks, one thing led to another, and we ended up near Taira no Masakato's grave. I was feeling brave and really drunk, so I don't remember exactly what I said, but I do remember knocking over some flowers, maybe a vase. Before we all went our separate ways, I got to my home station, and as I was walking towards the stairs near the exit gates, I got this horrible cold sweat all over me. I know I was drunk, but I've never felt that before or since. My shoulders got really heavy, and then it felt like someone kicked me in the back of my knees. I threw my arms out to try to catch myself, and the next thing I remember is being in the hospital. I broke both my wrists, chipped a couple of teeth, and ended up having to leave from work and moved home with my mom so she could take care of me. The curse of Masakato, man.
Oh, God. No.
That boy's head doesn't want you around. Just his head, though.
That man's head game is strong.
You know, that's really interesting that, like, they mentioned that, like, all the damage seems to be done to people's bodies. Maybe his head is just like, fuck, give me that body, boy. And, like,
if I can't have a body, you can't either.
Exactly. Fuck that. Oh, shit. That's fucking creepy, honestly. But hey, I feel like that might be doing it for us here today at the Men of Zen. I'm glad everybody could join us here for a little bit. A short episode, I know, fun and sweet, but a little spooky. And we will have plenty of more spooky themed episodes here coming up in the next month or two as we continue this spoopy time. So.
Yes, but Brent, we didn't talk about what would you give the show out of 10?
If I'm going out of 10, I would say 4.
A 4 out of 10? Really?
4 out of 10.
I was gonna say like, damn.
Sorry, I was gonna say 4 out of 5. Yeah, I mean, roughly same thing, like 8 out of 10, 7.5, 8 out of 10. Like,
I think
it's solid, it's fun, it's short. I'm not super thrilled with the ending. It doesn't really wrap anything up. It just kind of leaves you wondering.
Open to a second season, which, obviously any anime studio would hope that they can animate it the next season of the show, so they want to leave it open. But I hate when a lot of companies think they're going to get a second season before they
So I don't think
really
that was
earn
the
it.
case in this one, though, because just from what I've heard is that it's the way that this ends is somewhat similar to how the manga ends, but the manga goes into some more detail, which
I didn't know the manga
it's
was...
only 9 volumes.
Really? The manga's still
It
not
was
going on?
No, yeah. So that's done from what I recall.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, so it's just the way this ends. It doesn't really wrap anything up a ton, but there's a little bit at the end that maybe alludes to what could happen, but you have to do some digging to really find what the answer might be.
Right.
But no, yeah, it's good. It's solid. I think it's a solid show. I think it's fun. It's a great one to throw on in the background for a while. And then again, it's pretty short. I was more into season 5 of The Dragon Prince because I watched the fuck out of that. Oh my god! And there's like 2 more seasons left, and I want them now. Netflix, hurry the fuck up. That is one of the. I swear to God, we're doing an episode on The Dragon Prince here one of these days. As soon as it's done, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, shit, is it good?
Yeah. I probably do the same thing. I probably give this show a 7 out of 10. I think it keeps me drawn with a lot of the questions I have, like why is she able to see the spirits? What's the ultimate goal here? While that does not wrap up in a way that I feel is satisfying, the show was still fun. Like, yeah, sure, take away the unnecessary like butt shots and boob bounces, but like whatever, it's anime. Like I'm kind of used to that at this point. But
yeah, I feel like that's the thing. We're just desensitized to it, so I don't call it out, and I'm not as disturbed by it anymore.
My girlfriend though doesn't watch too much anime, so she was just like boobs, and then like butt shot.
I just kind of forget that I'm like, oh, what? That's like that happens all the time.
Yeah,
like,
it's like everything. It's anime. Like, have you not watched anime?
That's how it is.
Like every anime watcher is horny as hell. We all get that.
Yeah.
But. No, like the show's solid, like 7 out of 10. I would like there to be more, but if there's really not going to be any more of it, that's kind of sad. Like, did we know what happened with the series? Just
no, like that was it. Well, like I said, the manga wraps up. Like the manga is pretty much done. It's more implied as to what happened. They just don't say for sure. This one I feel like wants to allude to it, but doesn't give a solid enough hint or does not convey the message strong enough.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I'll fill you in as soon as we end up here.
Yeah.
I want to thank everybody for listening. I want to thank Schminkadelic for the use of our intro and outro, and you can find more of his, not necessarily spooky, but it's scary in how good it is.
Ooh.
His dance and trance music. You can find that under Schminkadelic on Apple Music and Spotify. Go listen to that scary good tune bops that slap.
It's gonna make you want to shake your booty,
your boobs.
No, we don't do that here, Brent.
No, all right, fine. You don't want to like shimmy. Fine, I see how it is.
Also, remember, you can watch Mieruko-Chan on Crunchyroll.
Yeah.
And Crunchyroll is one of the few streaming services that I've noticed hasn't been increasing its prices.
This episode not sponsored by Crunchyroll.
You know what? I'll support Crunchyroll because they don't try to screw me over with raising prices.
Yeah, you know what?
So,
that's true. Fuck that. Like, everyone's been fucking jacking up their prices recently.
Yeah.
And you know what? Crunchyroll doesn't care how many screens you got.
Yeah.
Matt, take that, Netflix.
Yeah, take that. You know, so
fucks.
You know what? Like you said, not sponsored, but you should go subscribe to Crunchyroll, where you can watch the new Jujutsu Kaisen series and a bunch of really awesome stuff. So if you're an anime fan, go check it out.
Oh yeah, I'm 100% on board with that. Thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring our episode. You can go to betterhelp.com/thebarn to get 10% off of your first month of service when you subscribe to BetterHelp.
Woohoo!
So go get you some help and get some of that, get some of them ghosts and bad boys out of your brain.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all good, man. Everyone's got them. It don't matter. You ain't that tough. Just go get it. And also, lastly, thank you to The Barn specifically for having us on their Midwest podcast. I am excited to be part of that network. It's a bunch of really good dudes. Did you see that Midwest mixtape was able to get an interview with Tech Nine?
No way.
Dude, I almost shit my pants. What's fucking funny is literally the day before, I was like, you know who I haven't listened to in a while is Tech Nine. And I was like, just literally like jamming and shit. I was like, hell yeah, like I ain't rich, like I ain't sold. Fucking dude, he's one of the fucking best hip hop artists out there. He's fucking amazing. And then they're like, oh hey, we're interviewing Tech Nine. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. No way. That was so cool.
Dude, no, that's awesome. Like hell, I showed
rad.
I showed my girlfriend Tech Nine's Face Off song where he did with like a bunch of different artists and The Rock. But that song is, you know, it's a gimmick song, but it's still that the lyrical genius in that song slaps.
You the one that's gonna come down with it. Hey, you the one that's gonna come down with it. Chucky. Hell yeah, dude. Hey, thanks again, everybody, for listening. Once again, this has been the Men of Zen. My name is Boo Rent. Boo.
And I'm Phil. This bucket with candy. Because I'm Phil.
All right, thanks
hungry.
everybody for listening. Stay zen.
Later, folks.
Spooky zen.
So hyped for spooky season.
For more media entertainment podcasts like the one you just heard, check out The Barn. Anime, music, sports, and video games, The Barn has everything that you need.